Sagween says, dGon is the karma of Facecheck. Less flashy, but such a good support. What does that mean? Just press E all the time. Shielding. I'm protecting us from ourselves. That's what my role is here on Facecheck. Hello everyone, and welcome to dGon vs. Commentaries for Season 3, Episode number 19. That's right, I looked it up, I checked to actually know which number episode this is, finally. And we got a lot of comments about benching players, not highlighting players enough, and maybe not giving enough love to some of your favorite teams. So let's hop straight into it. Pitsmaster says, not talking about a team that went 3-0 is criminal, no matter cause. TSM FTX to the moon. That's right. TSM FTX is undefeated in the first week of summer as TSM FTX. We did talk about TSM for a little bit right off the top. I think we talked about the comparison of Sword Art to Perks for a little bit, but you know what? You're right. We didn't dive into it as much as we probably needed to. We talked less about TSM and more about TL and the TSM TL game that kicked things off. Yeah, we'll do better. But I mean, you know what? Maybe if we get some of that Blitz app money, that would be cool. But TSM 3-0, they're expected to be the #1 contender to Cloud9's repeat into the summer split. Sorry, TSM fans, kind of. Mr. Spooderman says, good name. dGon is a hell of a player. The problem is he is the only threat on this team, so teams can just focus him and win the game off of it. That's a bad take. This is just a straight bad take. dGon is the only mid laner in the league where you're like, this dude's gonna throw. Like, don't worry guys, we might be down like 7 kills and like 5k, but dGon is gonna throw. Like, that's not a good player. I think Evil Geniuses is better off if they had like Palafox. Like, yes, the highs are not as high, but the lows are not as low, right? Then you give the opportunity to young Danny to go ahead and get his opportunity to carry, plus Palafox being put in a situation with Svenskar and with Impact that have very strong opinions on how the game is supposed to be played and have the experience to back it up, would lead to less of a car crash of a week from a team that is expected to challenge for top 4 and possibly finals. I don't think they're gonna win, but like, I don't know if we can call dGon's highs without his lows and say that's good, right? I mean, that, like, you have to take both, and we've seen what happens when the coin flips tails. The coin flips tails a lot. So I don't think this is a good take, Mr. Spooderman. I have dGon on my fantasy team because he gets a lot of kills. He also dies a lot, and it doesn't matter if the team wins or not, but he gets a lot of kills. First up, it's a double. NickAnd273 says, I don't understand people hating on Perks. Yes, he ints sometimes, but when he does, he tries to win. He tries to come into the fight from unexpected angles. He catches waves better than anyone else, and it seems like everything but playoff is just training for playoffs for him. And Silent says, Perks was just given NA the G2 treatment, inting one game and then smurfing the next. All right, both of y'all, like, the reason why this came up on the show is because people were strongly reacting against Perks. And we showed one of the comments how crazy it was, where it was like, yeah, we should bench, we should be punished, flogged, whipped. That was kind of such an overreaction. Again, everyone knows you come back from MSI, it's a little bit of a slow start as you are getting back into it. And yes, Perks is the kind of person where if he falls behind, he's gonna push the limit so that he can limit test, right? Again, that's exactly what playoffs are for. I very much agree with the end of what NickAnd says. Everything but playoffs is just training for playoffs for him. I don't know if he catches waves better than anyone else. That just feels like a broad statement. I would have to research that one. And it's tough to catch waves when you die like 6 or 7 times. But he's still the player that you want to build your team around. He is the one that instills the confidence beyond just what the result is on that specific day and takes away the learnings. And I think it's a very cool, if you're that comfortable in your spot, it's very cool to be like, hey guys, your mid laner's behind. What do we do? And challenge everyone to see like how good they could be and other ways for them to come back. So the overreaction this week on Perks was pretty dumb. You have Perks because he's going to be your playoff buff, because he knows what it takes and has been to the top of the mountain and is the reason why that team's to the top of the mountain, right? Brox has also been to the top of the mountain. So there's a difference between Brox and Perks. All right, cool. Lando says, when Dom opens with, so I guess you weren't watching any of the CLG games, and LS just sighs, smiles, and nods his head. Yep, that was the LCS viewer experience encapsulated. Oh, CLG. Oh, okay, here's the thing. I bought a lot of the CLG stock. It was cheap. I might have been wrong. Tafo, general manager of CLG, did just put out a video this week. I retweeted it, and you can see it on my Twitter. Kind of hitting on and taking some accountability of the shortcomings of the team. He says the team is great. They had a bad read on the meta, obviously the Gwen and Viego thing, and they've adjusted that, but we'll see. This team is primed to perform. They should be performing better than what they are, and they just cannot put it together. And having draft deficits doesn't help. Obviously going 0-3 in the moment doesn't help with team chemistry, but it also means like, hey, we got that 0-3 out of the way. We know that we're good. Our scrim results have been good. Let's just get a better read on the meta. I trust all of you and get back to it. So CLG is starting to run into the category opposite of the other top teams, right? Right. When you think of TSM, Cloud9, TL, and you can even throw 100 Thieves in there, those are the teams that are expected to win. And if even if you just take out 100 Thieves and it's just those three, those are the three teams you expect to win. You're like, oh yeah, one of these three teams can win. And that is the assumed reality until it isn't. Kind of like the LEC with G2 and Fnatic. Oh yeah, G2 and Fnatic, one of those two are going to win, until it wasn't. I think CLG is starting to fall in the other category now, where it's like, yeah, CLG are going to be like bottom feeders until they're not. They have to prove otherwise. And I felt like this spring split, the spring split ending into this first week of summer was like, hey, here's an opportunity where they can prove they're not a bottom feeder. And then they proved that they were. So tough times for CLG fans and CLG stockholders, but you know, only time will tell, because this roster should have all the answers. Next up, it's another double. Dildunion, that's how I'm gonna say that name, said, I am sorry I consider myself very smart. I mean, I watch Facecheck after all. It doesn't mean you're very smart. I listen to Dom and LS all the time. See, that's why you don't listen to me. But I couldn't understand what LS was talking about. Faker playing honest. So he is just playing to win lane. Is that what he meant? I have no clue. It is killing me. dGon, please translate this. And Furcho said, the Palafox comparison with Faker and Nemesis is interesting. It basically says the way in which you climb solo queue is important, and the champs you use and everything else. Makes me want to analyze more how other pro players climb to see who is honest and who is dishonest, and not just think that because a certain player is high LP, he's going to perform better in LCS. Very nice. All right. Well, despite the typos, when this was being brought up, right? Because I think it was clarified back in the episode. You can go back and watch at the timestamp. They were saying that Palafox was playing solo queue in Korean solo queue, in a way where it was just fighting. You're just practicing mechanics. So he would go to the side lane and force a fight, bam, 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 right? And he would just show up to a fight, TPs would come down, right? Rather than getting prio, shoving the wave, and then roaming down, right? I'm a huge believer in, it's not, you play how you practice, right? And perfect practice makes perfect, not just a ton of practice makes perfect. And here is an example, according to the guys, where someone practices a ton, right? No one's challenging the fact that Palafox doesn't work hard, and obviously he has the LP, but the manner in which he does it creates situations that don't happen in the LCS. LCS teams aren't just gonna get baited if you just roam down bot without prio and then just start a fight. They're gonna just take your tower plates and tell the bot lane to sack and back off, and now mid is at a slightly disadvantage that other mids of the same caliber of Palafox or better can take advantage of, right? In solo queue, that's not the case. People could be, theoretically, they could be just ready to scrap and, oh, mid's here, we need TP, and oh, late roam, and all that stuff, right? So I think that's what they were hitting on in terms of playing honest and dishonest solo queue, right? I think that your micro matters way more than your macro in that case. And that seems to be the thing for Palafox, right? Again, everyone always saying Palafox the next great North American mid, and a lot of that comes from in scrims, he craps on people, right? He does it. But do those situations really come up in the LCS? And does that solo queue help you in the future? I think Palafox has capped out his micro skill set. He's made plays before. But a lot of the time, the issue with FlyQuest here in the spring split and even week 1, are they getting to positions where they get to have those fights? The answer there is no. Like, the game's breaking before they get to team fights where he could show off his prowess. And so that's what they mean by honest and dishonest solo queue and what you're practicing. Unlike this next comment, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and hit the comments for the moments that we forgot. I will be in there, I promise. Oh boy, Puppet Master says, dGon, AKA definitely gone from the LCS and never coming back. All right, that's enough. That's enough of the joking, y'all. Once LS flamed me with that one on the show, you can go back and watch that one. I think that one cut deep, you know? Again, I think Danny is gonna be a great AD carry. I think we got to see glimpses of him creating out of nothing on his Samira. But the problems with that org, that team, not the org, that team, or maybe the org, I don't know, runs deeper than one player, and it didn't feel very fair that my boy got painted as the issue. So anyway, he's a great player. He had the right mentality, and I, again, wish him nothing but the best. All right, just like I wish you all to have yourself a fantastic week. Thank you for your comments. Did we miss any? Did these comments seem weak? Let us know in the comments below here, and I will be in there going back and forth with you and checking out all of your challenge or takes. See you later.
Subscribe. Look at all these cool things we have. They're right here. My producer said I have to do this.